for the Daughter Skate 342, my battle to land the rolling tray flip. Okay, so it could be time for the first rolling tray flip. It feels like it's time, like it's ripe and ready to be harvested. I've worked on the tray flip stationary, but I'm at the indoor skate park and it feels pretty easy. So I think I'm gonna give it like 10 attempts and just land that damn rolling tray flip, the first one ever. So yeah, check it out. So at this point, stationary tray flips had started to feel manageable. I could often land the stationary tray flip within a couple of attempts. Sure, it didn't look good, but I could land it. I often struggled with the rotation, but that actually felt somewhat easier with the rolling ones. On the other hand, fear of the rolling tray flips hampered my commitment. But as you see here, I wasn't super far from landing the trick. I often ended up a bit too far towards the nose, which is a super common problem, but I also struggle with the balance of the trick. And on the few occasions when I landed bolts, my weight distribution was off, which kept me from staying on the board. I'm also gonna say that I try to limit my attempts each session to around 20, to not kill my body with one repetitive motion. It was time to give up and save the trick for the next session. Okay, so I didn't land it. I'm pretty close to landing it, but yeah, I don't mind waiting until next time. My old body could use the rest. So if you enjoy this short battle, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, so it's a new day, new opportunities, and I'm hoping to land that tray flip now. Here on the second session, I got pretty close to landing the trick. I didn't have very good rotation and I was guilty of a clear heel drag. It still felt good to have stayed on the board and kept rolling. And straight after that, this happened. So no heel drag that time, but no points for style either. And I also had really poor board rotation. It still felt like progress. I had once again managed to stay on the board. Haha, what was that? And it was once again time to give up for the day. Often when I got full board rotation, instead the board didn't flip properly. Here on the fourth session I landed the trick with decent rotation, but with another heel drag. Okay, so it's the fifth day and I'm gonna try a couple of tray flips this day as well. On the fifth session, nothing really worked, but I guess it was still good practice. On the sixth day I almost landed one with good rotation, but I only did a few more attempts after that one. Okay, so I don't know what day it is. I think it's like day 7, maybe 8. I don't know, but you know, I'm gonna try to land that rolling tray flip. So wish me luck. On the 7th session I did a lot of attempts, but nothing seemed to work that day. My main goal this, the previous and the following sessions was to keep the board under me, but as you see the board still often went a little behind me. I also lacked the necessary board rotation to land the trick. On the 8th session, I only did a few attempts and I never managed to land even a sketchy one. On the 9th session, I had much better board rotation, but instead I often failed to flip the board enough. And I also still had the problem with that damn board ending up a little too much behind me. Around here I started to mistrust my technique and I went back and tried a couple of stationary tray flips. I should just need to do the same thing, but rolling, right? On the 10th session I got both feet on the board so many times, but I still had pretty bad board rotation. On the 11th session the board remained under me a little better, but I didn't land any attempts and I only did a few attempts more that day. On the 12th session I tried to scoop the board a bit more towards the front foot, and I was inspired by a Hailey Isaac video where she explained that the scoop should be like the Nike logo, you know, like a Nike swoosh, and that actually seemed to work a little better, so thanks Hailey. On the 13th session I tried to stay more centered over the board, and I also tried to avoid bending my knees too much. I also kept trying the Nike swoosh to scoop my back foot towards my front foot a little more. I also tried to focus on bringing my back foot back to the tail to avoid landing with my feet too narrow. And on that attempt I got good board rotation, but I landed too much towards the front of the board. Now, I sadly lost most of the footage from the 14th session, but I managed to salvage a few attempts. Among those, this almost landed rolling tray flip, after which I started using my wrist guards more often. On the 15th session I continued my efforts to get the board more centered under me, and I think that it went in the right direction. Just like the previous sessions I got good board rotation and I had pretty good foot placement when I landed, but with poor balance, but it still felt like I was progressing. Now on the 16th session things really started to happen. My GoPro stopped recording and I never got the 3 landed tray flips on video, so this is when I started recording after that. So I actually landed 3 tray flips just before this footage started. Oops, primo alert. And look at that, good board rotation, but I didn't land it. So these tray flips are not perfect, but I landed on the board and I kept rolling. And during this session I landed 6 tray flips. So yeah, the perfect rolling tray flip. It's still obviously somewhere in the future for me, but I'm happy that I have at least started to land sketchy ones. So the video that you have just seen was filmed during a couple of weeks in the end of 2021, and sometime after that last session I had started getting some knee issues, and that meant that I couldn't continue to practice a tray flip. I have just gotten back to the trick and I can't wait to show you guys that perfect tray flip, so stay tuned for future videos if you want to see me land that. Also, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. We love you guys. Thanks for watching.